two, 1, 2. Perfect. I think it works. All right. Cool. Live scene. Yes, I think it does. Oh, that's on the. Okay, let me move it a little bit. Sorry, guys. Moving it just a tad so my shoulder doesn't. Taking that away. Perfect. All right, sounds good. I think I can go up one more, maybe another one. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, I think should be fine. All right, let's post it to the appropriate places and see how this one goes. So February is upon us, and we're here. So we're gonna be going over a couple of phones that have just come out, and besides that, we'll be doing all of the extra things, and essentially that's how it's gonna work today. We're going to change some settings here, and then let's start with our timestamps for the people that need them. 000 introduction, and then we'll see where we go from there. As always, make sure to put your questions in the comments below, and I will be interacting with you guys. We have a couple of things to talk about, posts, and of course, a couple of announcements for next week. Actually, next Tuesday, we're going to be going to talk with Joe from the Livestream. So he's going to be giving us some updates on the Livestream. If you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned. And if you have any extra questions, just put them out there. I'm just updating everybody right now. And announcements. Dumbphone live stream. Starting. Come ask questions. And the link. And there it is. All right. Cool. So let's start with an update on a couple of phones. I'm going to start with the TIQ Mini. Then we're going to go to the Mindful phone. And then, we have a couple of extra things to go over. So let me note that in my good old timestamps. So let's start with the TIQ Mini here. Let's see. And it is 03. 03, 3 minutes, 20 TIQ Mini M5 update. So let's get started with that. First of all, I received my TIQ Mini right here. This is the newer version. This is not the prototype anymore. And as you see, some things have changed, like the icons. And of course, it does have the Google Play Store. Camera, everything came in a package. This phone is $300, so a little bit on the expensive side, but is working very well with the carriers. I don't know if you can appreciate right there, but it does say Verizon. Let me go up a little bit. So right there. All right, let's see if I can. I think that I'm at my maximum focus, so I'm gonna have to adjust that. There it is. So right here at the top, sorry guys, right here at the top says Verizon, says working with Verizon, and is working again pretty well. So far, no issues. I've been testing for the last couple hours since I think Sunday or Monday, Sunday. It got here on Friday, and I didn't have time. I had a lot to do with work. But the TIQ Mini M5 is in our hands, and if you're interested in it, you can definitely get into it. I'm going to put a link here for the TIQ Mini M5. So if you are interested, TIQ Mini M5, and right there. So this phone has essentially all the capabilities for a smartphone, and let me go a little bit. Yeah, there you go. But of course, it does have a form factor that is less appealing. I personally would say that you need to load a couple of extra applications. So let me go over the messaging experience so that you can see how it works. So as you see right there, it's on the mode. The keyboard that is using is the on-screen keyboard, which you can swipe and do those things. But it's not enabled. So what you will have to do is change the keyboard here. Interesting. It's not giving me the option. Nope, that doesn't give me the option either. I'm intrigued. I think maybe they removed the other keyboard and I had not checked that. I was just testing calls and things like that. But my personal recommendation for this specific device is to load TT9. So we're going to do that so that I can show you how to do it. So you go to, this is the browser that they included with it. And we do have a question that we'll get to it in just a second, but for now we'll use the, so traditional TT9 keyboard. Right there, TT9 keyboard from SSPA Spanak. So this is probably one of the best keyboards for your traditional device that has keys. And I personally download it each and every time. So let me go through that. So it's a little bit harder when I cannot see it. All right, let me see. There it is. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for better. So you will go here for releases section, or you can get it on Easy Droid. And these are some of the updates. Assets. Yes, that's where we're going. Download the APK. So you download the APK. Of course, you want to allow it with notifications. You okay it. You view it. We're going to wait for it to download. And then you kind of like have that. So first question, of course, you guys have it. Daniel Romero's, he says he got his phone yesterday and is working with AT&T. So working with Verizon, working with AT&T. I did not think that that was going to be an issue. Carl, what phone is that? TIQ Mini M5. And of course, then one more question when it comes to the privacy. Does if the TIC sends personal data back to China? As far as I've been testing with the previous unit, which was the prototype, it doesn't. It's actually quite refined when it comes to the operating system and some of the OS changes, things like that. However, you cannot be sure 100%, so I would definitely recommend that you use some sort of blocker like NextDNS. I talked about this in a post. Let me get over this, and then we're gonna switch over the NextDNS conversation because I actually think it's a helpful one, and it's going to help us a lot in this specific area. Give me a second. I need to bring this out here. So I definitely recommend that you use NextDNS as your kind of like filter. And then you're going to be able to use it. So we downloaded the APK. We're going to open it. We're going to go to settings and allow this to install things. Going to go back, install. I will definitely disable Via, which I think is the browser that they included, but I have no idea where it comes from or what it does. So personally, I would just get rid of it. Now we open traditional T9 and it kind of gives you like, initial setup. Select default keyboard. You gotta go enable it. There it is, traditional T9. As you see, they did not include on the final version some of these different things. They didn't include the keyboard here. They only included the on-screen keyboard, probably because of feedback that it wasn't that great. Select default keyboard. Traditional T9. And now when we go to our messages, let's go to our messages and try to start a conversation right here. There you go. Now you can type it. Of course, I haven't downloaded any dictionary, so there is no actual prediction. But you can go here to go to languages and then load dictionary. So right there, it's going to load the dictionary. It's going to have it. And yeah, it's going to be now when we go back to our messages. Let's go to hello, and hello right there. You're going to be able to use it and use type it with the keyboard. If you ever want to change it, of course, it's going to have you choose the input method right there. You can do Google Voice typing or English US with the on-screen keyboard. And Google Voice typing is exactly what it sounds. So, you know, you have the ability to right there go over voice to text, and without any issues, you are able to deliver the messages that you need, which I, again, think it's a good proposition. It's actually, you know, very nice that it does have this capability. But of course, if you don't want it, you can just delete everything else and it goes right there. So I definitely think it's a good idea, and it's a good, like, you know, and it's a good way to kind of get through it. Besides that, it does have cameras. They're not earth-shattering. As you will see right here. Okay. It does have autofocus, though, so that is a little bit of a plus. Ooh, that's a little bit too much. That's too much on the low side. Sorry, I'm trying to focus it and get enough. I'll just take a picture. Let's go to the gallery. And of course, it's overexposed because I have a massive light right here, so forgive that. But, you know, it's legible. You're able to zoom in and see, you know, whatever it is. It does have some specks of dust here. This is the next phone that we're going to go over. But, yeah, there you go. You have the ability to kind of load whatever you want. So the next thing I want to talk about is how to protect. So this was a question that came up, which was how to protect yourself on this specific scenario. Like, let's say that you want to make sure that your phone doesn't send any data, you know, privacy that you don't want it to send. That's a very valid, you know, reality, and I think it's a very valid concern. So let's talk about NextDNS and how it can help you. This is at 13 minutes. 13 minutes. NextDNS and how it can help with the Dumbphone journey. This, I will say, it's actually even a further help, because there are other, let's see, things that you can do not only with one device, but multiple devices. And I think that that is something that it's definitely better, in my personal opinion. I think it's definitely better for all of your smart devices. You should be doing this with all of your smart devices. So NextDNS.io is the area. And so it's a firewall, right? It does cost some money if you want to go over a certain amount with a lot of devices. So you have about 300,000 queries per month for free. I really think that should be enough for most people. I personally don't go over that. So on NextDNS, you will set up a profile and have privacy protections. So you can get the NextDNS ads and trackers block list. You can add the Windows native protection. You can allow affiliate and tracking links if you want, or you can disable them. You also you can add other block lists like mobile ad guards, Google Ads, no tracking, automatically unupdated for blocking trackers and other garbage, you know. Blocks all known NSA, GC, CIA, FBI spying servers. So this has a comprehensive list that I think, you know, it's going to help you better. So for example, here we have AdGuard, DNS filter. Then you also have a comprehensive list to block ads and trackers in all countries. That's the NextDNS list. And what you would do is you would download you don't even have to download on Android. So there are a couple methodologies that I definitely recommend when it comes to some of these things. So the first one personally is that, you can block social media apps, porn, piracy, dating, gambling, social networks, online gaming, video streaming. And you can also set a recreation time where these rules kind of like, are not there. You can enable safe search, enforce it, bypass methods. You can allow your deny list and allow list. And you have analytics, right? So this is what was blocked throughout my queries throughout this time, and like it tells you like Microsoft, some whatever other domains that are not helpful, and yada, yada, yada. So again, you have the ability to do this at a better kind of like area, with your email. And there's a lot of things that they block. So what I would do is with any device you have, I would essentially create a profile that you're fine with, whatever your regulations are, whatever your ideas, like, if you want to block trackers, if you want to block ads, if you want to block, websites like adult content. I don't want to keep saying that word because then the algorithm flags it. But if you want to have all of these different things, you block whatever you want to block and you allow whatever you want to allow, depending on your needs and everything you want to do. And you can load it onto any device. So what you would do with, for example, the TIQ Mini M5, which is just an example, is that you can, let me hide this. So you can download the app via website or Play Store or whatever it is that you prefer. And then you would allow there to create that cross section and block everything through the traffic. So it's not sending any information to a country that you don't want. It's not sending any information to advertisements or trackers. And it's going to break some web pages, just FYI. But I mean, hey, it's telling you this web page doesn't value your privacy. This web page doesn't value who you are. So it's kind of dependent on whether you believe that that's a good thing or not, right? Now, the extra benefit with Android, and I will go over the guide here. So how to hard code NextDNS into Android. So there's probably a helpful tool, but here is there's a way to do it with ADB, and so that way, like, you don't have it. Essentially, you can turn off and on, right? So like there's a way to do it on ADB completely. So let me see if there's a guide for that. NextDNS ADB. Let's see. Setup for NextDNS. I'm trying to see, like, there was a guide I found at some point in time that essentially you go to ADB and it allows you to truly use your configuration very easily, and you use it with ADB and like you don't have an issue. Oh, maybe this is kind of similar. So, perfect. Yes. The steps are a little different with a phone, but this is like a specific Me box, right? But go to this, and essentially you need an Android phone, you activate ADB, you go to USB debugging, remote shell, you find your IP address and everything, and you have to disable the private DNS. But then, like, here it is, you allow the connection at some point in time with your ADB. You're typing it, right? Whatever your Me box or whatever your phone has as an IP address. And then you add the code that it will give you from the NextDNS area, right? So like you allow and you hard code your configuration code into your device, and that way you cannot remove it unless you go into a computer and use ADB or stuff like that. I remember somebody did it with a Hisense A9, and I found that guide, being very, oh, here it is. Perfect. Okay. So with the Hisense A9, it's even better. It's on the e-ink. The post name is how to block folder app recommendations. Here, let me add it to the video links that we discuss. That way, I'm going to add it in the chat, but also I want to add it in the video. So let me go to the chat and add it there. So you guys have a guide. And so essentially, the Hisense A9 brings a lot of bloatware. So you go to ADB devices, ADB shell put global private DNS mode hostname, ADB shell put global private DNS specifier, and you put the code from the NextDNS ID, and then automatically it will block everything from the device. So essentially you will need ADB enabled, and to do that you have to go into settings and get all of that debugging enabled. You connect it to your computer and you hard code it. You can also do it through settings or just download the app, right? And then maybe you can just disable access to the app so you're not back and forth creating some of that. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that allows you to, know a little bit more about how to use it, and just maybe do a deep dive for yourself and see what actually works for your personal scenario. So that will be my personal recommendation so that you can get through it. We're about to get to Q&A, guys, in about 9 minutes. So you guys can go over that. So make sure to put your questions in the comments, and we'll be interacting with that in just a second. Okay. So this was a little update on the TIQ Mini M5 and what I would do in order to add some extra protections. Personally, I think that will be helpful for you guys. Okay, next update will be the Mindful phone. So big news for this company is they got into one of my favorite carriers, which is the US Mobile. So US Mobile has a deal right now. I personally use US Mobile myself, but they have, let me show you. This is the Mindful phone. So they are now back in stock, and good phone for if you only need calls, text, like, that kind of stuff. So you have essentially a good deal right here, $279, but it includes a year of unlimited talk and text with US Mobile. So you're going to get their basic plan and internet, included all taxes and fees. So instead of paying, for your phone plan, you will have all you need with the Mindful phone if you buy the Mindful phone. And you can get it in like different configurations. I have the black version myself, but a good deal. And I will put it in the comments below if you want to join the US Mobile. I personally use their plan. That is the annual plan, and I use their light plan right here. Yes. So it's $6. It includes 1 gig of data, included talk and text. And I personally use that with my light phone. So perfect plan, very cheap, saves a lot of money. And if you want that specific phone, then hey, you don't have to go pay. Mindful phone, I think it is. Let me see. GreenTouchSolutions.com, I think. Yeah, there it is. So this one is, if you go buy it from them, it's $279.99. But if you buy it from US Mobile, it's $279.90, and it includes a year of service. So if you were already thinking about getting the Mindful phone, just go over to US Mobile and get that deal with a full free, and it's a SIM card, right? So, if you ever change phones, you still have access to that free year, and you got the phone, and, you can resell it or whatever you want to do. I'm going to put a link in the comments on that, and I will show you the functionality of the phone and what they have improved, that kind of stuff right here. So let me go over, and this started at 23, maybe 20 something. So I just want to make sure that the timestamps are there. 23, 22. Mindful phone update. So good phone, and it's super basic though. So if you're looking for something more smart, it's definitely not gonna be the thing. So right here, you have the updater, you have the phone and the usability of it. I know they added something new. They added a new feature. They're always doing updates. So as you see right there, this is their essentially customized store, and it just kind of updates and you go over it, and it's pretty easy on the eyes, not super. Let me see if the brightness is all the way to the top. It has some of these lines and I don't like that. But yeah, a good device, good idea. And it has been working pretty well per my testing. Would I get it as, like it's a competitor, right? So there you go. You have the US mobile link. It's a competitor to a lot of other simple phones like the light phone and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on what you want to use it for and what you think it's going to be, what you think is going to be useful in different categories. So I personally think it's a good phone if you want something simple and kosher and it's never going to change, and you like the ethos. But if you're looking for more features like podcasts or directions, well, this phone doesn't have that. So, don't get something that you are not very sure that you're going to like. So here it is. As you see, they do have their own updater, and it has made things a little bit faster. Navigation, especially the typing experience is. I wish they had TT9 on this, to be honest. So here, let's go over the typing experience, because it gives you the kind of like default that you have to use oh, sorry, I need to type a phone number, fake phone number right here. And right there, it gives you the keyboard. So you have to type the keyboard. And whenever you try to type via it's just the numbers. So a little bit of difficult recommend if you like the tactability and only using your keyboard. But again, it kind of depends on what you desire. So Mindful phone, good for calls. It works with US Mobile. So you have the discount right there. But a good device nonetheless. You can also, you have the T9 direct keyboard if you don't want to use, right there. So there you go. And I believe they are using a little bit of like the TT9 engine, but I'm not entirely sure. But, if you want to use it like that, it's good. I wish there was a way to combine both. That's what I meant by not having the option, but it does have the option to one or the other, but I would like to have both. And also you have different keyboards like German keyboard or Hebrew or multiple languages. So, it does have that accessibility that it's just better. 2 more minutes until we get to the first Q&A. It does have a voice recorder. So if you want to send also voice records, you can do that. It works pretty well. No big issues, no big glares on this. And they are constantly updating it, which is something that I look for whenever I recommend companies. Same thing with the TIQ Mini. So the TIQ Mini has been getting a lot of updates, which, it's something that I personally like. Let me see if we have any other updates here. No, just messages and phone calls. They have been improving a lot of the texting engines. And if you tap into the thing, it tells you what's new right there. You probably won't be able to see it, but it says fix the freezing. It has a broadcast feature. And yeah, so a lot of things like that. So again, I'm glad that they are upgrading and doing a lot of this iteration. That is always good to see. And it's always nice that companies are going to be making sure that people are supported. I think that's something that I look forward every time that I'm looking for a new company. Okay, let's go for the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, let's start right now at 30 minutes. We're going to go for probably an hour and a half today, and I'm trying to update Q&A number 1. So let's go over some questions that you guys have put or extra ideas that you guys have for me. Let's go over, let's see, or comments as well. Like, so Aaron says he started on the Xiaomi F30, wanted some more capabilities, and landed on the F21 Pro. On mobile, and so far it's been amazing. Glad to hear, Aaron. That's good. F21 is it's essentially the TIQ Mini M5, but cheaper, and you have to configure it though. So, it doesn't come with the configuration and everything. You have to do it yourself. But this is essentially the competitor. This one's $300. Xiaomi F21, if you do all the configuration and everything, is going to be $90. 120 maybe, even if you get the 4 gig version, it's going to be pretty good. But if you configure it, you should be good to go with especially T-Mobile based carriers. Ezekiel says, I'll be ordering the Light phone soon. The only thing I will need to figure out how to keep communicating with overseas families that use WhatsApp. Use your computer. I always talk about, let's go over here, a couple of alternatives for you guys. So let's hear one thing for keeping in contact with family is BlueStacks. So if you have a computer and you want to run WhatsApp on your computer, BlueStacks is definitely one of my preferred areas, and like you can use BlueStacks 5 or 4 depending on your version and how process intensive it is. But essentially you're able to install applications, games, and things from Android. If you want games, whatever, if you want whatever to play in your computer, but you just have the ability to install WhatsApp, and that'll be the easier way. Another method is to use Beeper. This is something that I personally use. So you have Beeper, all of your chats organized in one place, and essentially you have the ability to have WhatsApp, Instagram messages, iMessage, yada yada yada. The iMessage function is a little bit finicky. You need to have a Mac in order to do that. But for all of the other stuff, they do have bridges. They use the Matrix protocol, so everything is very open in that sense. And WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Android, SMS, Telegram, Signal, Slack, Instagram. There's a lot of things that you can use. Some things break down from time to time, but they go fix it, so just FYI. But I've been using WhatsApp with them, with the Beeper app, and I think it's a good alternative, especially for those of you that need something, for family overseas or things like that. Okay. Ezekiel Ortiz says, do you think Light phone will give it more gigs for music storage other than the 1 gig limit? No, not as of right now. They have been exploring adding more storage. I believe I talked with Joe about that at some point in time, but they just don't want to make the experience more difficult or slower for the phone. And that is, something that I personally think that, it's a bummer, a little bit of a bummer, but that's the life, and you kind of have to just accommodate to that lifestyle. It's about 200 songs, so it's pretty decent. 200 songs it's a lot of songs. So maybe create some playlist on your desktop and then you load it, and then you kind of have that idea. Actually, somebody, let me go over that. Somebody on YouTube did a hack. I'm going to mute this tab so I don't get any copyrights or anything like that. But Light phone II playlist. This guy had a little bit of a different way. Filter by upload date. Music hack. Andrew. There it is. I remember. So Andrew Foltz, good guy. He does videos about barefoot shoes. So if you're into that, that's something to check it out. But essentially, he talks about how the Light phone, why he started using it, but he cannot have playlists. They only have one playlist. But he used a program. I don't know if he, yeah, there it is. Picard, Music Brains. So he used this to add in the in one of the values. He added essentially a playlist, like so down tempo international. I think that's what he's calling the playlist. So he then put that on every music file that he was loading into the Livestream II, and now it automatically created essentially a playlist for him, because when he says he searches for down tempo international, then all of the songs, as you see, are organized in the way that he wants to organize them. So if you want to do a little bit more, hacky way for you to, get the playlist, you can put a label into it. You download this program, I believe it's free, and you just edit it. So you have that ability right there that you have for your playlist on the Livestream II. Okay, last question so far for our first Q&A is the Mudita Pure has been out of stock for months. Yes, and with a reason. So let me show you why. So this is the new introduction of the Mudita Compact. So they are going to have an e-ink device. As you see right there, you can barely distinguish it. But when I saw it, I could automatically tell that this was an Android phone because of some of the icons and some of the ways that things work out. And here is a more quote unquote detailed look, but not really detailed, which is right here, the Mudita Compact. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but it's a slab phone with Android, and they have just customized, some of the usage and what they're doing with it to, make it look good. They also have a black version, if you see right here. If you go to the Mudita forum, you can see this image way better than this quality right here. So if you go to the forum.mudita.com, you'll have access to a lot of the discussions that they're having, and that kind of stuff, software updates, notifications, yada, yada, yada. And then here in one of the threads, I posted this image, which again, you can see that it's essentially an e-ink Android phone, but probably it works well here in the United States, not like the Hisense A9, which, it's a little bit of like, essentially, what do you want? But again, e-ink Android, I think is a good thing, especially if they customize it and they only include basic things. It's a larger Livestream II for sure, but it just depends on what you desire. But it's good to see the development, and that's why they're not restocking their Mudita line of phones. And as you see, it's just out of stock. It's going to continue to be out of stock because they're not developing it anymore. So you kind of should think that this is a dead project. But they are continuing to do their alarms and things like that. But they're bringing in a new device, which is the Mudita Compact, and then eventually we're gonna get to that. So please put your questions. I'm about to finish with one more question right here, but before that, I'm gonna be right back because I need to go get a phone and talk a little bit about extra updates on Livestream, Sunbeam, and things like that. And then we're going to talk about the minimal company, which, we're going to get to that. So let's get to it. Put your questions right there, and I'll be right back. Probably add an extra 5 minutes for that. All right. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. Was getting some of the extra stuff. Okay, so let's get to the next part. I want to make sure that we talk about this from a full perspective, so I'm going to give it probably 5 minutes to it. 40 minutes. Minimal company phone. Okay. So, as always, you guys know I'm very transparent with the conversations I have off screen, and like not updating on everything, but let's go over this minimal company now. So this is the minimal company phone. Probably you can see it better there. Let me see. Yes, perfect. So it's an attempt. Okay, so here's a little bit of the history since around November, December, when I first had conversations with Andre Yuka or Yoka, that's his name. So back when he first started promoting an idea, and let me go to Reddit so that I can actually showcase to you guys what is happening. So minimal company, there it is. So he's a web developer living in LA, entrepreneurship. He's trying to live some good values. But back in around, 2 months ago, right there. So he deleted this post, and I don't know why. But essentially, here's a comment. My dude just said he's making a Hisense with USA reception. Hopefully, it has native Google Play. Check this guy's post history for Q&A and other subs about this, right? So he was like, hey, we're in between a Hisense A9 form factor or smaller device with a full QWERTY keyboard using an e-ink display. So again, back in the day, he started posting about this idea with the Hisense A9. And I believe he had a mock-up, but now it's not here anymore. Maybe it's on the archive. Let me see if it's on the archive. Somebody, I think, probably archive it. And essentially, he had a Hisense A9 that was customized. Tryminimal.com. Let's see. And he started talking about, hey, I want to do a Hisense A9. And he, again, I think it's a good idea. It's a product that is already made. You just have to customize the bands, work with the manufacturers, and bring it to the United States and global release, right? Make it accessible for people. I'm all for that. You customize it. You create a new launcher. Good idea. Now he has pivoted from that. And what he did is now having a QWERTY keyboard device with e-ink and a custom launcher and a custom frame. Now, I don't think this is impossible. I think what he can do is actually really good. And I think that the buy-in is there for the community. He has a Reddit with this idea. So he has a subreddit right there with this idea. And however, there has been some concerns, right? When it comes to this, there was a post that we'll go over, and I think there are some very valid concerns about this project, not because it's impossible, but because of the timeline, right? So again, about 2 months ago, back in November, December, he started to gauge some of the interest from the community. He probably connected with some of the Chinese people, companies that have manufacturing plants and things of that nature. And they started progressing and getting a time schedule, right? So he said that now in February, he was going to launch a campaign for crowdsourcing, right? Because I don't think he's VC backed. I don't think he has venture capital right now, but yeah, it's a good project. And I think it's a good idea. Tactile keyboard. As you see, this is a rendering. I mean, if you really look into it, I'm going to try to go a little bit but if you really look into it, right, I mean, these are not real keys. This is just like a design prototype. And I think it's a good idea. But let's go back to the realm of reality and what it really takes to make a phone. You know, it takes time, it takes resources, it takes a lot of buy-in from the community. I mean, you have a e-ink device with a QWERTY keyboard. It's a lot of little components here and there. And maybe his timeline was really optimistic, or maybe he found a manufacturer that was already developing something like this, and had the ability to do so. But I mean, I would just have some healthy skepticism about it. I've talked with him. He wants to, you know, he will eventually come and talk about the crowdsourcing and everything. He reached out. He wants to be on the channel and, you know, be front facing with the community. And I respect that. But I told him, first, you need a prototype in order to showcase that, because coming here and having a conversation about a design, it's great. However, you really need buy-in, and you really need a prototype if you want to promote it, you know, to the big scale. So there was a post on Reddit from a guy called Snake something. And I think you guys can see it here, right? I think. Yes. So essentially, we have no evidence that the phone exists. Well, it doesn't. I mean, it's a prototype. He made a post, was deleted by the mod, but, you know, they kind of went back and forth. This is a little on the critical side, too critical for me, you know, in my personal opinion. But I understand the skepticism. I understand a lot of people want a device like this, and, you know, they're like, hey, this is a 3D renders. It's not, you know, this is not a real product yet. But again, there were some back and forth between the owner, between Andre, you know, and he started talking about, you know, final design has been completed. They're looking for the financial figures. They're looking for, you know, some of the UI and getting all of that stuff. And I like this comment personally right here. It says, I'm reserving judgment until we see what information is included with the crowdfunding campaign. Let them say whatever they want until they ask for money. And I think that is a good comment and a good idea, a good guiding principle. A lot of people come up with ideas, come up with concepts and all of these things. Just reserve judgment, you know, allow the people to flesh out their ideas. And, you know, sometimes the timelines may be too optimistic or not. Just let them play it out, and you will go from there. So yeah, personally, I think that's how it should go, you know, and don't go, you know, super like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And then it doesn't happen. It doesn't, you know, come to terms. But also, like, hey, give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, it's going to take time, and it's going to be there's going to be a lot of things. So when it comes to a minimal company, just have some healthy skepticism, support, you know, give some ideas, you know, join the Reddit if that's what you want and you want to follow some of the progress. You can sign up for the waiting list. But I think it's a good project. I think it's a good idea. I would buy this device if it was available. I think it's a great phone, just from the rendering. And if they're able to make it a real product, I mean, I think it's going to be just amazing, right? Like, you know, it's going to be probably a home run. But it's going to be hard, and it's going to take time. And I would rather get something well done than something rushed that has a lot of quality issues. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the minimal. I'm talking with him. You know, every so often he comes and chimes in. And I mean, you know, he says it's going to have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So, I mean, I assume he has had conversations with some of the key players right now. And he's going to have minimal OS, which probably is going to be just a customized version of Android. But hey, give it the benefit of the doubt, figure it out, and see what happens. I'm going to continue updating month after month, whatever happens. And, you know, again, just give the man some time to flesh out his ideas. I think that's the least that we can do. And once money is starting to be asked, then we can talk about it. He said that it was going to be $400. I think that's an optimistic price point or an underpowered device. But with keys, customization, flashing the OS, I mean, doing all of those things takes a long time. It's not easy. So I wouldn't think this is going to happen this year personally. And if it does, I'll be very surprised and very happy that, you know, that's the kind of stuff that happens. So hopefully that answers your question. I am Vin91. We have talked about it now, the minimal company. Just give it time. Let them flesh it out, and hopefully it becomes a reality. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I mean, we kind of knew it was a moonshot. In my perspective, it's a little bit of a difficult device to produce. I think if he would have stuck with the Hisense A9 with USA compatibility, I feel like that would have been a way easier path. Definitely less sexy, definitely less, wow, wow factor. But I mean, it's a reality. The phone is there. The Hisense A9 is a real phone right now. That if it were to be customized with the USA bands, that will be something good. Okay, let's move on to next company that is going to be releasing something, which is the WisePhone II. Actually, today I had a conversation with one of their members, and they're really excited about it. I think, they know my take on it. I think it's a decent offering. I probably will be reviewing it, but it won't be my go-to device. And reason being, it's kind of like, I don't like subscription models, but I will like to say that what they're doing is actually different than what I expected them to do. So right now, let me talk about this in just a second. 51 minutes. WisePhone II update. So Techless is a company. They had the WisePhone I. They essentially scrapped that device at the end of the day. But the WisePhone II, as you see, looks really nice. It's a really nice phone. They're still kind of like having some of these ideas, but this is what they're doing. So they're going to have a device that has most of the basic apps. So clock, calculator, camera, maps, music, notes, photos, settings. And then they're trying to get feedback from the community to see what other apps they want to do, right? And they're creating what they call healthy tech, right, with their approach. And what they're trying to do with the WisePhone is have a certain specific operating system. This is their coverage. I think this is the T-Mobile coverage map, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But they're going to have basic apps, not, mindful usage, not increased battery life, solid build quality, as you see right here. A lot of good design principles, a lot of good stuff right there. And I think it's a good idea right there for them. It's a smartphone form factor, which is something that I personally don't like, but I think they have to start somewhere, right? Starting with something that is already created, it's easier than starting with something that you have to create from scratch, especially when they're a small company. So these are the essential tools, yada, yada, yada. Now, this is my caveat and the thing that I don't like, but at the same time, today I had a talk with them and I'm encouraged to hear what they're trying to do. So they are WisePhone II plans to simplify your life. So they have 3 plans, $24, $44, and $69. Essentially what they're doing is having a subscription to use the phone, but it includes your phone plan at the same time. And while I don't like subscriptions, I personally don't like subscriptions, and I'm against them most of the time. Like very few things I subscribe to, only things that truly add a lot of value. I did hear from them today that what they're trying to do is this Techless tool drawer. This right here is what they're actually trying to focus on. It includes access to curated third-party tools to increase effectiveness and the abilities of the WisePhone. So I think it's warranted. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a custom set of tools that is actually going to be useful for different, kind of like apps. And I don't know how successful it's going to be, but I definitely understand the endeavor that they're gonna go into. Instead of doing just shipping certain apps with whatever it is or allowing you to install whatever you want, they're trying to take feedback from the community and develop new maybe what the word would be like non-attention economy apps. And I think that's a good idea. They're trying to get some principles out there, but it is a little bit on the expensive side. That's just my opinion. $69, $44, and $24. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but they do include the plan. So again, I think you need to make your own decision whether this is what you want to support, but I think it's a good concept. It's a good idea. I don't plan to use it myself, but I plan to review it. And if they're able to deliver something that is very good, you're able to use with their platform. The price of the phone, I think, is $400, which $349 right now. So $349 on their pre-orders. So you have the tools, you have the ability to use some of these things. Then, I think over time, if you're trying to think about this company through the long-term lens, I think is going to be a good competitor because they're trying to build a lot of good things. I don't like the subscription, but I do understand it. Personally, it's a small company and they're trying to develop long-term engagement. So hear from them, see if you kind of align with what they're trying to do. And if you do, great. And if you don't, that's okay. There's a lot of competitors out there that are trying to do these things like, the Ghost phone right here, definitely more expensive. I personally think it's a little too expensive right now, $599, but it is a Pixel 6 and, you can only install certain apps. They already curated some of these things, but they allow you to get some of the add-ons, right? Like, so for example, they have navigation. Oh, they have a new GPS app powered by here. So maybe they created their own thing. Beta apps, like, they're creating some of this platform themselves. They do have Uber, Recorder, DAV X5, some of these things that you can use with the Ghost Mode platform. Again, $599 is too much for me personally, but they gotta eat, and they think that that's a price point, and they've been selling because now they have beta apps. So again, they're having a lot of things. WisePhone, another one. So just kind of like keeping you updated on some of the projects that are coming out. We already talked about the Mudita Compact. We talked a little bit about, that kind of stuff. So again, some things I don't like about the pricing, but there's other things that I'm like, well, if they can really deliver on this, the Techless tool drawer, and listen to the community, I think it can be a good thing. But right now, again, we just got to wait until they release it, see what the quality of the phone is, and move on from there. That's just kind of like what it is. I always reserve judgment until I have it. You can see my previous review on them. They made a lot of claims on the WisePhone 1 that we're not, delivering, but they did try to develop a platform that was good. And, again, they're working on it, small team, trying to figure things out. As you know, we're going to talk about this one more thing right here. And then we're going to get to Q&A number 2. I see a lot of questions lining up. So let's get over light phone updates. So now it's at 58 minutes. Light phone updates. So light phone 2, as you see right here. Let's first get over the device and what's new. Screen capture. There it is. Boom. This is the light phone, my personal device for the past 4 years. Great phone. I love it. It's one of the best phones out there, in my personal opinion. And I've been able to decrease my usage, but I love what they're doing. So, a couple things that were added or worked on. So here it is. Here, give me a second. Let me go to my dad. We just talk on the phone. We usually don't, I don't text, so no information there. So here is the new keyboard. So it's better spaced out. They worked on that. They still have some of the engine for the voice to text. So that has been added. An extra thing that I found for the podcast that has been working really well for me. They have been doing a lot of new micro updates into that. But the one thing that I found to be super helpful is now that they have added some of these extra little features, like right here, that tap at the top. It gives you that shortcut. And it gets you to the airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and personal hotspot right away. So little UX design, that kind of stuff that's happening. Now, why am I mentioning them? 2 reasons. I think they have some good deals right now on their website. They do have some good deals on their website, so let's talk about that. And they're coming back with their availability. But so first thing, their plans, they are offering a light service plan that is for free. I think if you try it out for the first month, they use the AT&T towers. And this is their tier 30, 45, and 70. Of course, you're supporting the company. You're not really getting the massive deal. Again, if you really want to get a massive deal, go to US Mobile and get the plan that I have, which is $6. But this is the thing that I found interesting. So I've been talking with Joe, and they're developing something that will make me switch to their $30 plan. If they do so, this is the thing. They're trying to develop a platform that allows you to text from the dashboard. So when you go to the dashboard, you would be able to, right here, let me go to my dad. So you'll be able to compose a message, and this is very internal and very, very few things that are happening. This is not a feature that they're going to release right away, but they've been talking about it, and I've been following, and I've been talking with Joe, and they're trying to develop something that allows you to text if you are subscribed to their plan, which I understand there's a lot of back-end things that they have to subscribe, in order to make it happen. So that is something that I think it's a good thing. And then the second thing is start looking for, there it is, 1 free month of light service for new activations, $33 value. So US customers, you can consider that. It's a good deal. Try it out, see if it works in your area, and if you want to support them for future development. But the other thing is, I want you to think long-term too. The thing that's happening is that they, right now, as you see right here, a lot of things on pre-order. So the only thing that is on stock is the North America version, but they're bringing a lot of the pre-orders up to date. Next week, around this time, I think it's 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I think we're going to have a live stream with Joe. So Joe's going to come and explain a couple of these new things. As you see, they have a lot of these other things like the lemur case, the light card posts, the sets. They have the light t-shirt now, screen protectors, yada, yada, yada. But we're going to be talking about some exciting developments that they're going to have for the future. No, the iPhone 3 is not happening right away. I know everybody's like, oh, when is it coming, right? Like, it's not going to come right away. It's going to take a little while. But he's going to be getting us a little bit of extra details on that, on their development, and some of the new features that they're going to do. So short update for the Light phone. But I did want to update how I've been using the Light phone in conjunction with my Sunbeam F1. So Sunbeam F1 Pro, these are my 2 devices, and these are 2 devices that I use for work and for personal. But I did want to, one thing that I hope, and I'm sending this feedback to Sunbeam, is that their mapping app doesn't have transit. This is something that I noticed the other day when I was out and about, and I was trying to look for directions to my local downtown. So I was trying to get, what time the bus was coming. And here, I'm just going to put this right here. But or maybe I don't know how to do it, but the Sunbeam F1 doesn't have the ability to do the directions via transit, whereas the Livestream 2 does. And I wanted to showcase that. Here are the 2 vehicles that you can choose for your Sunbeam F1, which are truck and car. I don't know how different they are, but maybe it means like trucking, like an actual truck. But I was like very disappointed that they don't have this ability. So whenever I look for the locations, right there. So let me go for the, let me just go here, Littleton downtown. Wait, it's probably just not working. Something's going on. And then I'm going to go to Broadway Station. Oh, having a little bit of issue, I see. But on the Light phone, and I was so it was difficult for me because I was, but here no, sorry, search, you go to Starbucks, you find the route, no problem. but you cannot have that's like the route to go to the Starbucks, but it's on a car. But here, I'm just showcasing, that the light phone does have the public transfer right there. And it tells you like, hey, it's going to come in this minute. This is the way if you want to use the bus, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, oh man, that's crazy that, this is a feature that they don't have. Now, the Sunbeam F1 also has Waze, but Waze also doesn't have public transit. And that was something that I just found annoying. And one of the reasons why I'm like, oh man, like these are some of the things that you kind of need to think about ahead of time and see all of the features that you need to have in order to have the device that works best for you. But having said that, Sunbeam F1 Pro has been excellent so far. Great reception, no issues. I have had good battery life, excellent battery life with the Sunbeam F1. And I'm just showing you like, hey, this is how it works, like the overview with the Sunbeam F1 and showcasing like the approximate and all of the different things. I personally enjoy the device and have been using it very well, very nice, good to use, great device. So if you've been thinking about it and you want to get something that is premium and supported, these two devices is what's best and what allows you to do your best work. I did a comparison video on this, so you guys can go check those out. But I did want to talk about the Sunbeam F1 as well on the new device that is coming, Sunbeam Wireless. So let me adjust my timestamp. Light phone and Sunbeam updates. So again, good Sunbeam updates. Oh, no, I want to go here. That's my dashboard. Whenever I order phones, but this is their new device, the F1 Horizon, which I know that it is a revised Sunbeam F1 non-Pro. So they made the hinge reinforcements and all of the things that they needed to do, but it's not going to have some of the rugged features. Like this is something that you had to open. This one you also had to open on the side. This is like a harder, kind of like shell that you have to get out in order to get your battery out and your SIM card out. So some of these rugged features that the Sunbeam F1 Pro has, the Sunbeam F1 Horizon is not going to have. So it's just going to be your regular Sunbeam F1 with, again, new features. So now they have all of the models, the Bluebird, Dove, Cardinal, Wren, Finch, Robin, Lark, and Chickadee. So you have all of the features essentially from the F1 Pro, but on a little bit of a cheaper package. So you can pre-order it right now. I think they're shipping. Started shipping. No, February 19th. That's when they're gonna start shipping. $249 on the device, and again, good phone, great company. And if you wanted just like a little bit cheaper device with USB-C and still a lot of the features that you love, like a 3.5mm headphone jack, I think it's going to be a good hit for $249, just a little bit cheaper than the Livestream II. And of course, with a revised thing. So if you think this is a device that fits for you, the best two competitors right now, in my opinion, Sunbeam and Livestream. Pick the one that you prefer the most, screen, connectivity, yada, 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 features, and look it up in there. All right, we're nearing our second Q&A. In just a minute, I'm going to add some links for you guys to use. All right, let's see, Airtable. That's where I have my links for all of the dumb phones. But we talked about a couple of updates here and there on a lot of these devices. Let's see, where is that video? Right here. So links. There's the Sunbeam F1 and the Livestream II, of course. Okay, LP2, where are you at? Livestream, there it is. So a lot of the links are going to be in the description of this video. So again, really excited to go over some of that. And if you want to buy it, I'm going to add it into the chat as well. I think, again, that one right there. And that one right there too. So you have it. That, again, just adding some of the links that we have discussed so far so that you guys have an idea. Okay. Oh, that's a good topic, Internet Shaquille. I'll go over that. I'll go over that in just a second because I think it's a good solution for a lot of people. Which, you know, it can be a good solution rather. Okay. Let's get to second Q&A. And then let's go over some of these things. Let's see. I do have. I think I can showcase it on this one. Yep. Okay. So let's go over second Q&A. Okay, let me note that down at 1 minute, 1 hour, and 10 minutes. We're probably going to go again for an hour and a half. So Q&A number 2. Okay, so let's start and see. Okay, so let's go over questions. Why is this not scrolling? Oh, there it is. Okay, now I got access to. Okay, so from the last point, Carl asked, how do you feel about Lineage OS, Graphene OS for both privacy or digital minimalism? Is it hard to install these to an existing phone? Actually, no. It's very simple. Most of the time, especially Graphene because it's on the Pixel, Graphene OS. So grapheneos.org. Okay, yes, I thought so. So in order to install it, Graphene OS, Lineage OS, Calyx OS, I think all of them are great and they're good ideas, especially for digital minimalism because a lot of things break. So, you know, it's not super easy, but you can use the web USB installer. So they have an installer on their website and they go over like literally everything that you need to have. You know, you have to enable OEM unlocking, flashing as not root, working around, you know, they have a lot of documentation, how to unlock it, how to flash it, how to do it, and how to lock your bootloader again. And again, you have a lot of good resources right there. Of course, you need a device that is compatible, and the only devices that are compatible right now, I think, are Pixel 5a and up. So 5a, 6, 6, 6a, 7, 7a, 7 Pro, Pixel Tablet, Pixel Fold, Pixel 8, and Pixel 8 Pro. So the more recent, of course, the more time you'll have with, you know, drivers and security updates. If you want Calyx OS, that's another, I think it's .org, but it probably will redirect. I don't know where we're heading. Yeah, we're going nowhere. .org. So calyxos.org. This one can be installed on a little bit more. Like you have some Motorola's, Fairphones, Pixels, and Fairphone 5. And you have also no longer supported. So you have some Motorola's out here, and you can install it pretty easily. You can get it. You can get it pre-installed if you get join the Calyx Institute. You know, right there. Of course, the cost is a little bit higher, but you know they do it for you. And Lineage OS is free as long as, but it's a little bit more difficult to install because it's per device. Every device is a little different, and they don't have any web-based tools or super clear instructions that are easy to follow for most people. You know, if you are adept with your usage of devices, you know, they do have the guides and how to do it with the installation, but they are not like plug and play, you know, if you know what I'm saying, right? But that's about it. I think they're great alternatives for digital minimalism. I think a lot of people can be benefited from the privacy perspective as well. Again, today I showed the NextDNS profiles and some of those things. So I personally think that those are actually super helpful. So that's something that you can use. I personally think it's going to be a good idea. Okay. DG says there seems to be HMD Nokia phones coming in April 2024. Not sure if they're dumb though. Yes. So I wanted to wait to do this for the new HMD rebrand. I've been talking with a couple of people about HMD, and they're changing their Nokia branding a lot, and they're doing like a lot of different things. Products. Let's go here. Where is it? It's hard to find nowadays because they have been going phones. All right. Let's see. Nokia phones. Nokia phones. Where are you at? Okay. There it is. Feature phones. There it is. And again, they have it still available. These are the ones available in the United States: 2760, 2225, and 2780. And but HMD is rebranding a lot of their kind of like, just marketing. And I've been told, but I was told before. So I think this is what happened. So there was supposed to be a release of the Nokia 110 4G on I believe it was December. But I think because they're trying to change their manufacturing process and their branding completely, then because of that, I think they scrapped it and they're going to release it hopefully by Mobile World Congress. So I've been told that by Mobile World Congress, we'll have more information on the future of some extra KaiOS and ThreadX devices, things like that. So we're going to see what happens. I don't know for sure yet, but I'll keep you guys updated. Anibal says, Jose, you are not talking about Punked anymore. What happened? I'll show you what happened. They decided to go on their own direction. Punked.ch. So their main thing now is not dumb phones. It's smartphones, as you see right there. Their new product is the MC02. They're trying to say that this is the best thing that happened forever. It's $749. It's more private. It's essentially Graphene OS, by the way. It's just rebranded Graphene OS, which, I mean, with a couple of things included, like 1 year free subscription for apostrophe services. But again, after that, you will not be able to use apostrophe services, which I'm okay with. I think this is a better alternative than, like, for example, the WisePhone, where you cannot use the phone at all without without their plan. This one is more like, hey, you won't have access to our services. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That's fine. I don't need your services. I can use my own services, but the phone's still going to be able to be used. After that, it renews at $14.99 per month, which I personally don't think is worth it. And the services are email, calendar, browser, Nomad VPN, GMS Wizard, and Ledger. None of these are really useful except the GMS Wizard. But honestly, if you're getting this phone, you're already thinking that your apps are not going to be there. You're getting a privacy-oriented phone, so you don't really need GMS Wizard because you're probably going to be using a lot of services that are not, you're not going to be getting services that are Google-oriented, so you don't need GMS Wizard either way. Their plans are powered by T-Mobile, probably the same as our friends at WisePhone. That's at least what I can intuit from the coverage. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what I can intuit. But a lot of these companies are getting this like new plans, offering their plans, 4 gigs, 30 months, 10 gigs with Punked, unlimited plus, no activation fee, flexible plan management, premium data, yada, 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 like that kind of stuff. By the way, if you're interested in to know how this works, they're using this company called Gigs. All of these companies like Punked, Lightphone, WisePhone, Dumb Wireless even. So Dumb Wireless, friends of the channel, Dumb Wireless have wireless phone plans as well. So if you want to support them, through your plans, you can use them. But their plans are 1 gig, $20, 4 gigs, 30, unlimited, 45. And all wireless subscribers are eligible for 10% off any device from Dumb Wireless. That's a good deal, right? So they're using gigs.com, which allows them to essentially be their own MVNO. I think this company is excellent, and they work with a lot of different people. And honestly, if I were to be selling a plan to you guys, like let's say, hey, you want to support my channel, get your plan through Jose Briones plan, right? I would do that, but not interested, but I think it's a fantastic company. I actually been talking with them for, some MVNO stuff, and some of these things. But it's an excellent company. And if you have a business, personally, or of a business that works kind of like in the tech industry, and you want to offer your own plans, get in touch with them, because they're doing some disruptive things for the industry for sure. So personally, I think it's good stuff. So what happened with Punked? Let's go back to Punked. So what happened with Punked? Yeah, they're focusing on a new project, a smartphone. This is a smartphone. This is not a dumb phone. This is not, by any means, this is not a dumb phone. They are trying to position it as like, oh, well, you have the ability to use your phone more mindfully and privacy and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I don't need to pay you $749 for that. I'm sorry, but I probably can pay you, $450, even if that, because again, you have Graphene OS, you have Calyx OS. You can install it yourself. You can find the privacy yourself. You can use NextDNS yourself. You don't need a lot of these things. Hey, but they're offering a suite. They're offering to do it for you. If that's value to you, go for it. I probably won't be buying it. You probably won't see a review from me just because I'm not interested in this space. But where's the Punked MP02 now? That's I think the question that you really need to be asking. They're not. I don't think they're really interested in developing this. And honestly, I want to be wrong. Let me say that. I want to be wrong. I want them to develop more of the MP02. But it seems like a lot of their ideas and things are going for the MC02 and eventually MC01. As you see, the MC01 was that QWERTY keyboard. And that device right there, beautiful device. That looks amazing. And it's an actual prototype. This is an actual device, So I think if they release this, then I'm buying it, because I'm interested in QWERTY keyboards. I'm interested in different devices that are not necessarily, the same form factor. I don't want another slab. There are a lot of studies that showcase, there's a picture, amount of distraction. Let me see if I can find it. This is the one. There it is. Look at this picture right here. This is an excellent picture to showcase what happens from a standpoint of research, and ideas. Let me see if I can go. No, doesn't matter. Okay. So this is the picture. And as you see right there, this is the amount of distraction. The smaller the screen, the less distracted you're going to be. I'm not saying that you don't have the ability to be distracted, but just by default, it's less appealing and less attractive. That's why I have devices like this one. It's not because of their functionality and they're way better than smartphones. They're not. But it's a small screen. It's an e-ink screen that, is not going to suck me into the world of tech and media. Same thing with this one. Yes, it does have a touchscreen, right? I can use it, but it's intentionally designed to not have a lot of apps that are super useful or super addictive. And I only use it for what I have to. But it does have a touchscreen. If I need to use it for when I'm in a pinch, I can do that. And I prefer to have that. But it's so small and designed with the intention of not using it a lot, which I think matters more than whatever marketing or whatever company can do. What was the product designed for? And if it was designed to capture your attention and time, it's going to capture your attention and time. I think we started that at 120. I just want to update the people that will watch this later on. But I hope that. Oh no, we're in Q&A. Yeah, for sure. We're in Q&A. So what happened with Punkt? They decided they wanted to go with a bigger device because there is a bigger market for them, and I don't blame them for that. That's just what it is. But they decided to go with a bigger device and a device that has more distraction by design because of the apps that you can install in it. So I don't talk about them as much anymore because they're not updating the phone. They're not updating the MP02. They're not really bringing new ideas. Okay. Let's go for next question. F21 Pro volume isn't very loud when listening to calls. Is there a way to boost it? Two suggestions. First one is there's a volume booster app on F-Droid. But I don't remember how it's called. I'm trying to see. I'm gonna have to look for it. But there's a volume booster app that allows you to clip or go through clipping. Maybe you can try some of these. Volume up, volume booster, that kind of stuff. They don't seem super reliable, but there's one from F-Droid. F-Droid volume booster. Let's see. Maybe this one. Volume control. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So volume control. That's what it's called. This one also has some settings that allow you to go further. And it will allow you to no. Oh, maybe that was a forum question. VLC. No. Maybe it's this one. Yeah. So system-wide implementation for control. Again, you have the ability to adjust the gain. So these are two that I remember that I've been able to use before. So rootless James DSP and volume control. So allows you to control and to kind of push it just a little bit more from F-Droid. And I personally prefer apps that are from the F-Droid store. That's just me, open source. But you probably can find one on the Play Store if you have it on your own. All right. Next question. Let's see. What are your thoughts on CAT going bankrupt? How do you think it will affect the feature phone market? Not by much. I don't think the effect is going to be that big. If you guys didn't see the report, Bullet Group. So a tough break for rugged phone fans as key manufacturer shuts down. So CAT manufacturing, or the Bullet Group was the name of the CAT manufacturers. I was actually in conversation with one of their not senior employees, but just an employee that works there. And he said that they were having a tough time, but that they were trying to capitalize on that S22, they were really happy with that, and they were seeing okay, the phone wasn't the best, the hardware has some glitches, yada, yada, yada. But they saw that there was a lot of interest. But sadly, I think their smartphone division wasn't doing well. And I mean, when you build your profits based on the smartphone division, the Dumbphone division is not as important. I don't think it will do that big of it won't be a big of a difficulty. Personally, I don't see it because honestly, at the end of the day, they were not that big of a player, honestly. I mean, if Light were to in Nokia or something like that, then I would be concerned. But for Bullet Group, they only had the CAT S22, and it was pretty all right. So, okay. Next one is some comments on the subscription for Hotspot. It's a scam. Again, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a tough sale. I think they should include it probably throughout, even if it's a little bit of data. But I mean, that's feedback that you can give them, honestly. I mean, I think that it's a company that's the WisePhone Techless company. They're trying to listen, and I think that's a good thing. The more companies that we get to listen to the feedback from consumers, the better it is, for us and for the things that are going to come out for moving offline. Okay, more questions. A lot of questions, actually. So, any info on possible new smart flip phones coming out in the near future? There have been some candy bars, but not any flips. Not at the moment. The last whim that I have was the TIQ Mini Q5. They are revising their, no, not that one. Q5. So they are revising their device, this one right here. So the hinge and a couple of the things with the charger were not really good. As I said in my review, they had a lot of the functionality on the touchscreen, and my device still works. So if you have a really long USB cable, it still works. But again, I would think that they need to iterate and they listen to the feedback, so they're trying to work on it. And that's why they developed the M5 better, because they found a better molding. Again, making a phone is hard, guys. Like, don't knock companies because there are delays or stuff like that. Making a phone is really hard, and like I think sometimes we don't see the other side. But that's why they start releasing the M5, and I think they're gonna do well with the M5 because again, it's a good device. It's a good form factor. It feels good in the hand. It's definitely a competitor to the F21, and I'll be doing an update, probably in like 3 months or so. The build quality is better than the white one that they gave me the first prototypes, but it's not like earth shattering either. Like, it's not like it improved 100%. No, it improved. It's better. It feels better in the hand, and, has a better finish and, things like that. Okay. Let's continue. More questions. Let's see. I'm going to get to Internet Shaquille in just a second, because I think his suggestion is actually something that we can display. But we do have one more question, and then we're going to go over that last question at the end. Yeah. Let's see. So which device do you take when traveling abroad? Livestream only works in the USA, right? If I travel to Mexico, it won't connect to local carriers or T-Mobile roaming. Yes. So if you go to the Livestream, they have a compatibility checker, but they also have 2 devices. So this is something that you need to know. No, compatibility is like right here. Yes. So United States, but we have Mexico. Now, here's the thing. I've tested it in Mexico, so I can tell you what works and what doesn't. So they haven't done the proper testing or things like that. And what they say is there are a variety of factors. So some carriers require special certifications. Some regions we haven't been able to test thoroughly. And Mexico is that region. So that's why they do not list it. This is something that I like about the Livestream. They do not claim that their phone works unless they have tested it thoroughly and they get the proper certifications. Even in Canada. So for example, in Canada, it says that it doesn't work, but a lot of people can show you that it does work. So when it comes to Mexico, if you go to Mexico with the Livestream II, I've used this personal Livestream II, and I can tell you that it does work in Mexico with AT&T Mexico. So AT&T MX has the ability to work with the Livestream II, no issues, all throughout the northern region. I've been throughout the northern region. I haven't been to the southern region or like Acapulco or like, Chiapas, like, those regions like down in the south. I haven't been. But anything from a northern Mexico or Distrito Federal, like, DC up, AT&T MX works. I have a friend there that makes it work with it, and he has had success with AT&T MX. It will not do roaming at all. It will not even register that you're with T-Mobile or whatever. It will you just need a local SIM card in order to make it work. So when I travel abroad, I do 2 things. It depends on the country. So if it's local or like semi-local, like here, Mexico, Latin America, a country where I speak the language, right? I speak Spanish without any issues. So if it's a country like that, I take my Dumbphone for testing. And what I do is actually I go look for a very cheap device over there to use it with the bands over there. I don't bring a device from the United States. There's no reason. And I always like to see what's available over there. So I just buy something local. And I mean, I buy a SIM card first. And if it works with with the Livestream, well, awesome. Great. I don't have to do anything. But if it doesn't, I just look for a cheapo device over there. and I communicate via my computer. So I just bring my laptop and like communicate via email or communicate via WhatsApp, beeper, yada yada yada. But that's it. That's how it works for me at least. But if I go to Europe, which I did go this past summer, I went to Europe to visit, and I tested a lot of the light phone. It worked in Iceland. It worked in the Netherlands. It worked in Italy without any issues. In Germany, only texting and data works. The phone calls do not work. So there, I was just relying on friends. I was with friends and that kind of stuff. But if you're going for a business trip, I would definitely bring a smart device. And honestly, there's no shame in that. I don't think it's a bad idea because they're more convenient. And you may find a lot of different things, and you only use it for a specific period of time. So don't feel bad. I mean, like I feel like a lot of people are like, oh no, I have to go back to a smartphone. I'm gonna get addicted. I'm like, well, if you're gonna use it for like a definite period of time, it's a week. Just use it for a week. Have fun. Have a little break. Woo. And then when you come back, then you go back to your habits. Honestly, the more I spend time outside of the smart world, the less I feel tempted to go back, because I see the impact that it does in my life, and I see the detriments that the smartphone brings. So I think you just need to give it more time for your brain to be like, oh, I cannot use a smartphone. It's terrible. But then over time, you're like, oh, this is a useful tool and it's helpful, but it needs to have its proper place. Whenever I need convenience, whenever I need smart features, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I'm part of this social club called Moonlight. It's essentially like a project that you can work on your side projects with accountability and kind of some measures in that. And they only have online forms to fill out your information as of right now. They may change that in the future, but as of right now, you need to fill out online forms. So I knew about that. So I brought one of my smart devices. I do have a broken iPhone that I use whenever, smart things are required. I brought it with me. I used it to fill out my goals and whatever from the QR code that they provided. And then that's it. Now, these are some friends that are doing these things. And something that I told them is like, hey, and I'm going to kind of maybe make it more important. It's like, why don't we have a different system? Or maybe I can fill out my goals even before. And I think they mentioned that you could do it like, you don't have to be in the social club at the time in order to fill out your goals for the month. But it's kind of like advocating for accessibility, right? So if you go to a place and you're a regular, you're somebody that is trusted in the community, and that community, advocate for them to have paper things, advocate for them to not have to require smart devices in order to participate. And I think that's going to be better. But I brought the device, and whenever I got back home, I just put it on the shelf. I only use it when it's absolutely necessary and there's no other options. And you have to plan ahead. The more you plan ahead, the better it is. So especially when you're going on a trip overseas, the more you plan ahead, the less you're going to need your smart devices. For my trip in Europe, I printed all of my plane tickets. I printed all of our train tickets. I printed all of these things. And when I got there, I did not have any issues. So it's just planning ahead and not letting it, overwhelm you. And be willing to be an inconvenience. So that's another thing. Okay. Whew. Let's go. What else? Couple extra comments. College. Now we have to scan QR codes, log into the school website to tick your participation in that class. Big the one which I put browsers obsolete, which is sad. A smart flip phone, just a bit of info hardware. Ian, I really, you're saying that now your school is requiring these QR codes. Honestly, like advocate for the other people that are coming behind you, and advocate for them to have a different solution. Just have an alternative, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And we kind of go from there. Okay. Let's see. Anibal says, let's say you're asking if the Livestream II or the F1 Pro are have plans of adding WhatsApp, they don't. I really think you can use your computer to we talked about BlueStacks and how to use WhatsApp. So try that, or Cat S22. Right here I have one. So Cat S22, that's your best option. I think there was a small question about how to switch it from numbers to letters. Your key, this is your friend right here. This is how you change the keyboard from numbers to letters on the on the S22, the Cat S22. Okay, no more questions so far. I do have one more, but we'll get to that towards the end. Let's do a demo on Assistive Access. I've been seeing this in a little bit. A lot of the posts on Reddit. So here's an iPhone. Let me go to the Assistive Access area. So Assistive Access. Okay, so you search for Assistive Access. Let me go up right there. Perfect. And this is an accessibility feature for Assistive Access. And let me note this down at 1:41. Oh, we went a little over. That's fine. Okay, I'll cut it at 2 hours. Sorry, guys. I got to get going and do other things. Access iPhone. Okay. So this is, if you have an iPhone, you have the ability to use this feature, which is called Assistive Access. And on Assistive Access, essentially what you do is you can add apps that you can use. As you see, here are a lot of apps that I have on this smart device, and you can add the ones that you truly need. I was testing it the other day, so this is why I have it. And then you activate it. Now, the problem with Assistive Access is that once you activate it, you cannot go out and check another app. So you start Assistive Access, put the passcode, and once you enter Assistive Access, it will look completely different than an iPhone, and you only have access to very basic features. This is done for accessibility features, people that may have vision impairment or communication, and they need some of these extra features. But as you see right there, you have access to WhatsApp. So it looks completely different. It's super massive. And you have access to, like go back. You are able to type and do like your little things in there. And you can have your calls. And as you see, it's like slower and quite massive. But you can call people and you're approved, kind of like things. I don't think I have any calls because this device doesn't have a SIM card. So then you have your messages, and you can text people through that. But it's a more boring experience for the iPhone. Now, the problem with this is that it kind of falls into the trap of giving you enough access for certain things. I think it's triple click. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And then what you do is you triple click for exiting Assistive Access, which you can exit by putting your passcode. Now I set up my own phone here and stuff like that. The problem here is that, in my opinion, it's still an iPhone. So it is still a big device that appeals to you, right? And it has these apps and these services. I don't think it's a bad idea. And I want to actually try something else. Access. Oh, no. I'm searching on the wrong thing. Assistive Access. There it is. And I don't think it's a bad idea. And I want to add actually 2 more apps. Let me add 2 more apps that are actually useful to me. Pocket Cast. There it is. Allow. Continue. Full access. Yeah. That's fine. And then Libby. Let me see. For Libby app, which is my audiobooks app from the library, which I highly recommend to everybody. I think it's L. Found it. Always continue. I don't know why it needs my location, but whatever. Okay, so, and you can have it in grid or in rows, right? I prefer the grid version personally. You can allow Siri for queries and all of that good stuff. Silent mode, show battery life on screen. And you can have your passcode settings. So what I would do is you would set up this assistive access with whatever you want, and then you give the passcode to somebody else, a significant other, a parent, whatever, you know, like a wife, husband, whatever it is. So once you started, okay, we got it. It's going to enable it. And then you're going to be able to listen to all of your things and, you know, whatever it is. I think it's a decent solution, but I just have an issue with, like, again, what was the phone designed for? And like, here we go with Pocket Cast. It's a slower experience for sure. And I think it can be really helpful. And thank you, Internet Shaquille, for bringing it to our attention. But like right there, you can listen to the Moving Offline podcast. That's right. You know, so let's play Moving Offline. I don't know if it's going to work. I haven't never listened to my own thing. I only have it there to make sure that it works or that the screen is refreshing. I don't know if it's working. Oh, it is. Okay. Welcome back everyone to Moving Offline. So, I had a podcast a few days ago. I only have it here, but yeah, I mean, it works. You have access to your podcasts, to your Libby apps. I think it's a good system, but I feel like you bought this $700, $800, maybe even $600 device. It wasn't designed for this primarily. It does have this function and it can help you a lot. And I think it's a good way to restrict some of that usage within the iPhone. But I think most people end up going back. They end up going back because the experience is not it wasn't made for this. Now, if you think it's going to be helpful to you, hey, all power to you. Not a problem. I'm all for solutions. I'm all for different things. I just don't think that it is the best solution out there because it makes everything slower, less intuitive, yada, yada, yada. However, I do see the value and I do see that it can be a great proposition. So it makes it more of a Dumbphone. I mean, it does, you know, like, but you still have access to, like, you know, as long as you don't put browsers and social media here, I think it makes your phone a phone, which is one of the things that this was designed for. But the iPhone was designed for more than that. It was designed to mine your attention and your time in order to give profit to big corporations, in my opinion. That's just my take on it. All right. Okay. Last Q&A, last comments. If you want to, and again, this is a free way to alter your device. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay. Last Q&A. We are at 148. Good. That was a good little demo right there. Q&A number 3. So last questions, everyone, if you have them. And remember, we're going to have a live stream with Joe next week around this time. And that can be super helpful. Okay, first question. What are the benefits of using a feature phone or dumb phone compared to a regular Android, in your opinion? I think it's the design piece that I talked about. Dumb phones like the Light phone or the Sunbeam F1, they're not designed to mine your attention and time. They're designed to give you tools that you can use and change your lifestyle. And I think that that's the main thing. When you use a dumb phone, you're changing your lifestyle a lot because you're not relying on the smart features. So that is a lot of benefits, but it has to be personal. It's personal whether you actually want those benefits or not. If you don't want them, that's okay. Customize your Android phone, strip it out of everything like the ghost phone people do. And yeah, you can use it. It's going to be good. And then if that works for you and gives you satisfaction, I think it's a good solution. So the benefits are mainly lifestyle change, slower life, and recovering a lot of your time and attention. And in the beginning is really, it's really uncomfortable because you have more time and more attention, and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I not watching a YouTube video? Why am I not watching a Netflix show? Why am I not doing this? And then over time, you start thinking like, oh, I can live a slower life. I don't need to pay $600, $700 every time that the new flashy thing comes out. Oh, it's less of a consumerism. And that comes with the lifestyle, not necessarily with the device you choose. Next question. What are the most have features for an e-ink phone to be successful? My reason for asking is competition amongst developers is good for the user. So I think for an e-ink phone to be successful, you need to have at least the baseline. To me, it's at least directions, some sort of music content so that people can access it, and probably, phone calls, text messages, right? Then besides that, a calendar, I think that will be really helpful for a lot of people. But at least directions, music, I think those are common factors that I always hear. People are always asking GPS. People are always asking music, some sort of podcast, or that kind of stuff. Just the ability to be able to load your own music or whatnot. I think those are basic features that a lot of people look for in a phone, especially e-ink. And maybe the Mudita will have that, right? Besides that, just that it works. Honestly, that it works decently and that it's pretty smooth with its operation. I know this is something that the Lightphone is going to improve on the future iteration for the Lightphone 3. It's like they realized that the phone of the device is good. It's an optimal. It's very light and very nice. But a lot of people have bigger hands, right? And they want to type and more, because here you type here on the horizontal level. Most people are used to typing on the vertical level, so they probably will iterate with that and change it for the future. So that's something, my question is someone going to get a Cat S22 Flip to work on Verizon? Probably not, especially now that the company is going defunct. There's not going to be any other updates and certifications that may have unlocked that benefit for the S22 Flip. So I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't think it's going to be a possibility. So that's my take. I don't think it's going to happen. Although the phone technically does have the bands. The problem is Verizon. You need to whitelist it with them and or allow list, whatever they're calling it now. So call them and advocate for yourself. See if they're going to be able to let it on the network. Last question that we have so far from Brandon. Have you done a video on how to use digital minimalism while streaming? I assume you're asking from like a content creation perspective. Like, I would think if somebody's a streamer for work and they have a community online and, they have that, it's difficult because you're relying on screens totally for your income. I think maybe from a digital minimalism perspective, because digital minimalism is not about no tech. I'll show you something. I received a critique. I don't. No, that's not the one. It's the one on Tech Life on Amazon. So somebody gave me a review on my book, and I welcome reviews. I don't mind criticism, and I stand by my work. But I want to note this review because I think it's not understanding what my book was about or interacting with me as well on the matter. So somebody gave me a 2-star review, and I actually don't mind the 2-star review, especially because it has critique and content. I hate when people give me a 1-star review or a 2-star review, but they don't say anything. Hey, like, I'm writing this, I put a lot of time to write it, and I'm not the most perfect person. I'm not the most perfect writer either. I make mistakes, and I'll show you another review that was a 3-star review, I believe, or 3.75. And I actually appreciated it because it gave me a lot to think about, and it gave me like the ability to be a better writer. So whenever you give a 1-star review, give some information so that, people can improve. So just FYI. But this person, I think, misunderstood where I was coming from. But she does say that my book is well-intentioned. So this book is well-intentioned and has good information about selecting a dumb phone, but I don't see this book as a good source of low-tech life advice. In the book, the author talks about listening to podcasts while running, creating online content for his YouTube page, turning his office into a computer gaming room, and using a projector to indulge on an extended session to catch up on the latest streaming platform productions. And while I can appreciate the author's efforts to reduce his tech use, he still seems in the book to use a ton of tech. Now, let me address that first. Yes, I do still use tech because digital minimalism is not about no tech. This is not no tech lifestyle. It's low tech lifestyle. It means that it's a little bit more of like reducing your usage, being more mindful about how you use it, and making sure that it adds values. Let's talk about a couple things here. Podcasts, they add a lot of value to me. I will not replace it because I get a lot of information from it. There is nothing wrong with listening to podcasts while running. I don't think that form of technology is detrimental to my use. I'm not doom scrolling, I'm learning information, and I'm doing it while I do another activity. Sometimes I run without my headphones and I just go for a run. Sometimes I run with podcasts. I do create online content for my YouTube page, and that is a lot of tech interaction. But again, it adds a lot of value to me because it keeps me informed on the things that are happening here in the webosphere. And it also allows me to share with you guys. I feel a sense of community. I feel a sense of like, hey, we're looking for the best solution. It's not no tech lifestyle. It's low tech lifestyle. Again, I did turn my office into a computer gaming room. That means that whenever I go into the office, I work hybrid. So I go sometimes into the office. I actually, if I have time, I play over there. But why? Because again, it's not my default. I don't have it in front of my computer right here. I'm not playing in front of my computer right here. It's when I go to the office, and I don't do it for hours. I just play a game, maybe for an hour, and relax. Because again, it adds value to my life. But I do not play at home because it's designed to get me into the rabbit hole, and I'll be playing for hours and hours and hours. When I go into the office, I want to get out of the office as soon as possible. I want to come back home. I want to spend time with my family, right? But it adds value to my life. Now, using a projector rather than a TV to stream movies, right? Nothing wrong with that. Movies add value to my life, and they add relaxation. I think it's actually very, very important, So when it comes to the streaming question, I think if streaming as a job adds value to your life monetarily, and it's not draining, you're able to share your ideas and play and have fun, I don't think that's a bad thing. The digital economy is an amazing thing. What we have to safeguard is whether it's mindless use instead of mindful use. I'll give you a book recommendation right now. I've been reading this book, listening to it actually, because I listen to it on Libby. But you can get it from the library or listen to it on Libby as well. It's called Emotional Agility. Not intelligence, but emotional agility. Very, very good book. It talks about how we can manage our emotions and be able to truly embrace and thrive, like with our work and life. And it's a great book, very well reviewed. And this lady, it's not as super entertaining, but it really teaches you to think about your core values and the things that you want. Now, why do I welcome this 2-star review? I welcome this critique. Yes, it is true. My lifestyle is no tech life. In my book, I talk about how to get from somebody who used to be super engaged, and I used to spend so much time. I used to spend 14 hours of my life in front of a computer every single day. Now I've crafted a life where I decide. I'm not mindlessly scrolling. So I know that she cannot know all of that about my life. I do mention some of these things in my book, but I think I appreciate the review, but I want to get to this next part of the review, which I think that really needs to be talked about, because what she thinks of a low-tech lifestyle is different than what I think of a low-tech lifestyle. What I think about digital minimalism and low-tech lifestyle is about reducing and embracing the things that actually give you value. Whereas for her is more of like a completely ditching all of the technology area. Now look at this. Look at what happens. So she says, and I think it's a good thing for her to give the example. Our family has tried to reduce tech, and I will include some things that have worked for us here in this review. If you have children in the public school under the age of 13, you can refuse to sign a tech permission slip, and your children will not be given Chromebooks or iPads. This is a personal decision that you have to make. But I actually will say that it's best for a child, actually a 13-year-old, no, but I will say do not let this is my personal perspective, but do not let your child that is under 14 play with technology. Absolutely. I agree with her. But here's the thing. A lot of kids give into peer pressure. And while they may not be using a lot of technology themselves, they may use it through their friends. So what you really need to do is don't forgo technology completely. The tech permission slip is very important because it's at school, right? They will not be given Chromebooks or iPads, but all of their friends will have it. So you have to really instill good values into your kid in order to do that. Now, you can teach your kid to say, hey, what is the value that the Chromebook has and what is the value that the iPad has, so that you embrace that iPad Chromebook value without giving into the attention and time wasting aspects of it. Now, this is definitely difficult because Chromebooks and iPads were designed to mine your attention, right? Okay. Now, the school then must provide your child with a zero tech alternative in the classroom. Perfect. Now, let's get into a little bit of the area here. Sometimes schools don't have this ability. And sometimes kids will fall behind if they have certain, difficulty learning. My wife works with children and she doesn't use a lot of tech, but sometimes tech is necessary in order to help children that have a developmental issue or, a deficiency with their learning and things like that. Tech can be really helpful. And again, it's not about no tech. It's about being mindful about your usage of tech. At least that's my definition. Now he says, ditch your streaming services and get a DVD player. Wait. So watching a movie on a DVD player is different than watching a movie on my projector? This is where I took a little bit of hey, you're not being super consistent, right? Because it's I get it. Streaming services are not the best, but what's the difference between watching a movie on my projector and watching a movie on the DVD player? Accessibility for sure, the size of the screen for sure, but hey, there's no difference. We're still using the time because we have to find things in tech that give us value. It's not about the things that take value from us, that mine our attention and that allow us to doom scroll. It's about what gives us value. Now she says the public, it says low tech mom, so I'm assuming it's a she. The public library or interlibrary loan will have DVDs you can check out, and they may even have movie nights you can attend to the library. Very good point. I don't watch movies mindlessly. I don't watch movies on my free time. I watch movies with my family. I watch movies with my friends because I like to make it a communal activity. Now, for kids, you may have to go to a movie nights or you may do it as a family. Again, it's not no tech. It's mindful use of tech. Ditch your internet at home too while you're at it. Okay. Excuse me, that may not be a reality for somebody that doesn't have the economic muscle to be able to have a job that is outside of the digital economy, or that doesn't need internet, that doesn't need Gmail, that doesn't need for you to check certain things. Like, not everybody has an offline job, and we have to be able to discern that. Like, the reality is that I understand. I ditched my internet for 3 months and it was the best experience. But guess what happened? My job got switched. And now I do still have an office, but it's way, way further, right? I cannot access it every day. I do still access it at least once a week, right? But now they switched my job, so I need to work from home. Most of my job, like the days that I work, and I am in a privileged situation that now I get to work less online, but the days I had to be here at home, I do have to work more online, right? Not everybody can do that. And we have to be willing to recognize that, you know? We have to be willing to say, not everybody has a free Wi-Fi accessible library 24/7. She says, our public library has free Wi-Fi and you can check out mobile hotspots to take home. Not every library is funded for that. I know not every library is as well funded, and she does recognize that as ours, but it is worth looking into wherever you live. I agree. Always look for the alternative. Always look for these ideas, and always look for what resources are available out there. I absolutely agree. But here's the thing. Not everybody has the same resources. Not everybody has the same situation. And we have to learn to accommodate how to use mindfully our usage of technology. I wholeheartedly appreciate this review, not only because it gives me a low rating, but it still gives me a, hey, you know what? This book has some things that I can apply to my life. And that's what I appreciate with people. Whenever you have something to critique, let's have a conversation. Let's not just go, zero. And that's why I'm engaging with this, right? Like, and she says, we have 3 kids in middle school. None of them have phones. And you know what? They're fine without phones and have a lot of friends. That may be because in their community, they have accessibility. They have a safe neighborhood space. Maybe it's because they have a safe park that they can attend to with their friends. Not everybody has the same resources, and we do have to advocate for those resources. We do have to advocate for people that don't have those ideal, scenarios in living. And we have to be able to, recognize that sometimes we do have a level of privilege that not everybody has. Let's just say it out there, right? They say we have, it is possible. I agree wholeheartedly. It is possible. We have a flip phone that the kids can take them if they need to contact us. The kids do a ton of sports and theater and have only checked the phones like one time. It is nice to know that you have the option, but it really has not been used. Again, some of these things tell me the kids do a ton of sports. Not every area has sports. Not every area has the accessibility. Not every area has theater, classes and things like that. I'm not criticizing her. I'm just making us aware that not everybody has the same situation. And we have to be able to recognize that, right? A lot of kids, the reason why they go on their phones, a lot of adults, the reason why they go on their devices, they mindlessly scroll, they mindlessly watch, they mindlessly do these things, is because they don't have any other alternatives. Their lifestyle design has changed. And that's what I try to emphasize in my book. In my book, what I try to emphasize is the following. You have to create your own lifestyle. Now, I'm going to go to my newsletter because I do have the chapter where I emphasize this. Moving offline. Okay. Top chapter 10, building your low-tech life. Throughout my book, I just give examples of how my life has changed. But this is the one that I think this one's free for pretty much everybody. So this is where I talk about creating your low-tech life. There are 5 steps. First one is make an inventory and categorize. Go over the things that you need for your job, for your life, for everything. And look for those simple steps towards digital minimalism. Make a category. Make sure that you have whatever is essential to you, whatever gives value to you. Look at this. I make it to make a list. The essential. These are tools that I rely on daily, facilitating vital communication and work-related tasks. These are things that I have to use. Lightphone, email, and Colibri, a browser that only has one tab at a time. Again, I'm not denying that I use tech. I use tech, but I try to do it mindfully, and I try to do it with Colibri. So on my day-to-day, like right now, you see a lot of tabs. This is only for streaming. Whenever I go, I switch to a different desktop mode, and I only have Colibri, which, again, if you go to that link, is one browser, only one tab. You have to be mindful and only use that. Then, nice to have apps. Navigation, it's really nice for me. I have a Garmin GPS, or sometimes, well, nowadays, I use my Sunbeam F1 Pro. Podcasts, I use the Livestream 2. On desktop, I use Grover. Music players, I have an MP3. It's sitting over there. Sometimes I take it with me. I don't take my light phone. I don't take any communication. Then you do potential distractions. Okay, these are the things that can distract me. How can I use them mindfully? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I use web catalogs sometimes to access these. So I don't go into the web versions because they're way harder. What else? I didn't add it at the time. I didn't know how to use it. NextDNS. Block yourself from using these things with NextDNS, and you allow only a certain period of time to do it. News apps, Readwise, you clip the articles, you read them later, or read the newspaper. And then you do professional and academic necessities, Teams, Notion, that. You categorize. After that, you quit. Start quitting as many services as you can. Reduce your digital footprint. Actually, one thing that I'm still testing this. I'm not promoting them. Just giving you an idea of what can be done. But if I think it's a good app and I think they do good service, I will partner with them and give you access to it. There's this thing called Yorba. So Yorba is essentially an app that collects all of your, it collects your Yorba.com maybe, Yorba.co. I think it is. Yes. So it's digital footprint management made easy. You connect and you're able to monitor, see where maybe there was a data breach that you need to change your email or information, delete and unsubscribe from old accounts, and all of that stuff. And so far, I have found it to be pretty good. It gave me some data breaches that I was not aware of. And you're able to connect and protect your data in a better way. I'm still testing, so I will not give you a referral link for this, even though I do have one. But for me, I like to test first. I like to make sure that the company is doing well and that it is a reliable company before I send anybody, to do some of that. Okay, so let's go back to my Substack newsletter, moving offline, right? Quit services. Step number 3, time zones. This is my favorite step. You decide when you're going to be online. I'm online with you guys right now because I decided that I wanted to be online. I said once a month, I'm going to do a live stream and I'm going to add value to people. I'm going to discuss the different developments on this YouTube channel. I'm going to be online. But guess what? I have offline days, complete offline zones. When my wife gets home, I try to, put it all away because I want to talk with her. I want to be there. I don't want to, I don't want to miss time with my loved ones. So right now, my dog is the only one here. After this, I'm going to go on a walk with him. That is an offline zone that I have already prepared during my day. You prepare your day to have online time. And when you're online, be online. Check all the things that you have to check. Check your social media. Check your email if that adds value to you. If it doesn't add value to you, quit it. Go to step 2. Quit it, right? Step 3, time zones. Create time zones that you have for yourself. Step 4, companions, accountability, or helpful tools. Our smartphones have evolved into virtual multipurpose tool, offering a broad spectrum of capabilities. This is a double-edged sword. While the convenience of having a single device that can execute multiple tasks is undeniable, this very adaptability can serve as a snare, drawing us into an abyss of perpetual distractions. What I say is what I believe, right? So what can you do? Get a standalone music player. Dang it. What do I have? I have a Sony Walkman NWA105. Great device. I take it with me on walks whenever I don't want to take my phone, and I have podcasts, I have music in there. Get a Kindle e-reader where you can greatly enhance your reading experience. You can even connect it with the Get Libby app. Libby app. This is a free thing from the library. You can get free books and you can read them on your Kindle. Perfect. Again, you may need external support. If you are considering this, Internet and Technology Addicts Anonymous is an invaluable resource. ITAA. And yes, they do have a website. And yes, they do have online meetings. But why do they have online meetings? Because they're using tech in order to combat the bad things of tech. Now, they may have an in-person meeting as well in your city. So check out their city meetings right there. As you see, a lot of them, Phoenix, LA, Sacramento, here in Denver, ITAA in Denver, meetings held first and third Wednesday of each month, South Broadway Christian Church. That may be good for you. There's a couple of spots, but if you live in an area that they're not serving, maybe you can start your own meeting, right? In order to get that support that you need, in order to embrace the challenge with somebody else. They have a sponsorship program just like Alcoholics Anonymous, and that can help you. Again, it's about intentional tech use. No tech. No saying tech is bad. We cannot use it. No. What brings value? How can I use it mindfully? If I cannot, what are some of the alternatives? Okay, I'm getting a little bit on this. And then repeat. I always say people have to repeat. Repeat. Go back to step one. Catalog every 6 months what brings value to your life, what doesn't bring value to your life, and then continue moving on. Okay, that was a lot. I hope it was helpful to you. Last few questions that we have is 2 more questions. Ezekiel says, what headphones do you use with your light phone? I will let you know right now. I use the ear sticks. I personally like them, the design and the ear stick from Nothing. The reason why I also like them is because they have like the ability for me to listen to what's happening in the background and not be shut out of what's happening in the community or whatever on the streets, but still listen to my content through it. So that's the one. Next one is I'm constantly getting distracted by my phone. If you had to recommend one device that you could use for text, email, use apps, but less tempting, what would it be? Lunch tray. Between these two, I'll bring one more. 3 options I'm going to give you. So not one, but one is the Jelly Star or Jelly 2. It's a good device. It's not perfect, but it's a smaller device, and that may reduce it. If you feel like you're still too attached, I will go with either the Cat S22. This thing is a brick. It's less nice to use, so you're going to be more invited to not use the touchscreen or even the device because it's a little bit more glitchy. And you can try also the TIQ Mini. Again, this has all the apps and everything, but less screen, less distraction. I think that is my personal belief. And of course, you can customize your phone like we did on the Assistive Touch. Go back to the Assistive Touch demo that I gave, and maybe that will help you. Okay. This is the Dumbphone live stream for the day. A couple of extra things is where do I go again to sign up for your newsletter? Brandon, you can look it up on Moving Offline. I'll put a link to this article on the chat. There it is. And right there. So there's some options, lunch tray for you. Last question, Jiggly Poker, thinking of swapping from Livestream II to Cat B40 simply because of the increased amount of songs. The only thing that stopped me is apparently the music player has a 600 song cap. I don't know if that is the case. I believe it takes micro SD up until 32 gigs. I believe 32 or 64, one of the two, if I remember correctly. Those are the best. Guys, we went a little over today, but that's okay. I think we discussed a lot of good things and a lot of very helpful, insights. I think it was worth it, worth our time. If you have any questions or any other things about the devices or anything, make sure to comment in the different videos and to live the lifestyle that you want. That's what truly matters, to design a lifestyle that you are proud of and that is not going to be consuming all of your day, but that gives you a lot of value. So I hope I'm able to share some of those things. And if we ever want to have a more philosophical conversation, we'll have a more philosophical conversation. But yeah, I'm reachable, email, channel, whatever it is that you need. I'm here to help, and I'm here to do the things. When I'm online, and I'm about to walk my dog, and I'm going to be offline, fully offline, and I'm going to enjoy and relish those moments too. I hope this live stream was helpful to you today, and I hope that you get to walk in your digital minimalism journey. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.